Welcome Beyond Our Focus. I'm Stefan, this is Amanda, and this is Breaking Prisms, where we go over Love, Death, and Robots. Comes out on Thursdays. Go check that out. We go over Black Mirror. It's all out. It's all out there. We've done the whole series. We got a whole recap thing. It's fun. It was great. It was awesome. Go check that out. But today, we are going over The Twilight Zone. Season 1, Episode 29, called Nightmare as a Child. Today is November 19th, a fancy Tuesday. And this episode.
It explains a lot now, because Google seemed very confused when I just typed in Twilight Zone Nightmare Child.
Nightmare Child, huh? Yeah. I mean, that could also be something.
I mean, it autofilled it, like, afterwards. It said, oh, did you mean? But it just was very confused that I just skipped a bunch of words.
Yeah, well, I mean, children generally are nightmares, so it makes sense. But Nightmare as a Child. Top level on this one. Girl shows up to a woman's apartment and real creepy.
Yeah.
That's about as top level as I can go without actually spoiling the plot of this episode.
Yes, pretty much. Just girl randomly shows at someone's doorstep, and the lady has no idea who she is or why she's there, but the girl seems to know a whole lot about her.
Yeah, that is the top level first couple minutes of the episode.
Yes.
And this episode starts off, in my opinion, super strong.
Yes.
The episode is like, it's like, oh, this is good, oh, no, it's no longer good.
Yes, at some point in time, we fell down a flight of stairs.
We did, because more than anything, the little actress, Terry Burnham, is phenomenal in this episode.
She is known throughout the episode as Marky. But she is amazing. Everything from her facial expressions to just the inflectuations in her voice as she speaks, the different tones she has, is just on spot. Oh my goodness. She's
creepy.
Yes.
But she's really, really, really good in the episode.
Like, she would have made a great, like, killer child or something.
Unfortunately, she has a very short-lived acting career back in the 50s and 60s. She only acted for, 15 years or something.
Yeah. And
retired super early and kind of went into obscurity for a long, long time. Died early 2000s or 2000 something.
2013.
Mid-2000s? No, well, I guess early 2000s technically.
At the age of 63, I think it was.
So, from when I read Cardiac Arrest.
Yes.
And, well, a lot of people are pretty fascinated with her. Apparently in California, if the ashes are not claimed, or if a body isn't claimed, it gets cremated. And after 2 years, anyone who would like can buy those ashes. Which is weird, but people are kind of fascinated with this little girl from this episode of The Twilight Zone. So some guy in New York bought her ashes and buried her in some actress thing over in New York.
Well, at least he did that. And It's not just some creepy thing like, I have her ashes on my mantle.
And then someone else had acquired a lot of her other belongings.
Yeah. That's crazy, though. Like, to act in one episode, and she did have other roles and other things.
Yeah, she played in a few. She was like in an episode of I Love Lucy. Mm-hmm. She was in an episode of like Leave It to Beaver. She was in a couple episodes of This, That, and This.
But to be so strong in one episode of something that you have a cult following till after you die is insane.
What you mean? She is phenomenal in this episode.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
She's the only reason this episode is good.
Yes.
That this little girl and how she acts the part. She is really, really, really good. She's much better than any of the adults around her.
Which is hilarious because as going into this episode, we had a discussion about how it's a very hit and miss when you put children in movies. Yes. Either they're really good or they're just they're annoying. They're really,
either
really
in
annoying.
Kids movies that are meant for kids and they're mostly annoying to watch. Mm-hmm. Or they're put into adult movies where they're actually written as real humans that can actually do things and they're good. You look at examples as It, Chapter 1, or you look at Stranger Things, or if anybody goes to see the new Doctor Sleep, which was really great. The kid actor in that is phenomenal. She's excellent in the movie. And this little girl, I mean, excellent.
Yes.
I mean, she wasn't annoying. She played her part so perfectly. She was written really well.
Yes. It was one of those things, like, for example, the Tall Big Wish, or...
Big Tall Wish.
Big Tall Wish, okay.
That kid was the worst part about that episode.
Which was sad, because he was actually somewhat of a... You could tell he had potential, but his lines were so horribly written.
Yeah, it was very badly written, which was the biggest issue of the episode, is some of the writing. Which also is some of the biggest issues with this episode.
Yes.
Some of the writing is just downright bad.
Yes.
The little girl, excellent. The woman, Helen, she was good.
Yeah.
The man who ends up in the episode was not good at all. And then by the end of this episode, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section, was just downright atrocious.
I don't know how it started off so strong and then ended where it did.
Because the premise was a good idea.
Yes, very much.
But the conclusion was not.
No. We were able to come up with better ways to have done it. That just like this. So the fact that they couldn't have, thought a little more into it.
It was an interesting plot, and I'm sure in 1960 when this came out, it was interesting and different and worked really cool.
Yeah.
But once again, it's where some things, because we've seen so much now, things don't hold up as well as they once would have in a day that hadn't seen something like that. But it became, unfortunately, very, 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 very predictable.
Yes.
And then by the end, they're just spouting exposition at you because they think you're a dumb audience. And that's not good.
We ended up getting nightmarish flashbacks to 2019 Twilight Zone. And that's not a good sign.
No, unfortunately not. There were some good episodes in there. They were. They were
We're
half and half.
We're not talking about the quality of the episodes. We're talking about the beating you over the head,
yes, and this one,
you don't know what you just watched.
This one really felt like the audience was not going to understand, and they needed to tell you what was happening, which is not good.
No.
But let's rate the episode. Move into spoilers. How do we feel about the episode as far as a rating?
So, our last week's episode, we were not able to find much wrong with it, so we gave it a nice little 4.
Yes, it was a really great episode with a kind of a weak ending.
Yes.
This one had an ending. Was it good? But it did have one.
No, this one, the problem was it didn't hit its weak point at the end. It hit its weak point in the middle to almost closer to the beginning.
Unfortunately, the last 2/3 of the episode isn't good.
Yes.
Or all the parts with the gentleman in it is not good.
Yes.
And that's the bad thing about this episode.
Overall, it was just weird. You just got weird vibes from this one as far as you're starting to get interested and then suddenly happens and you're laughing at it. And then you're interested again and then something goes...
What? Why? What?
So, yeah.
So, parts of the episode are really great. And parts of the episode are really, really, really bad, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
So I wish it was better because I really liked the actress that was in it. I really liked her part, and I thought it was super interesting in the beginning. But it unfortunately does not play out very well.
For as much of a cult following that this girl or woman had gotten, it was sad that she was well known for this episode. Like, if it was stronger, I would have been like, I completely understand everything. But the fact that you had such a strong little actress and you put her in an episode that could have been amazing. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of went, woo!
Yeah, so we're put it right in the middle.
Yes.
Can't give it too strong because unfortunately the episode it really falters. But really don't want to give it a bad score on the premise that the parts that were good were really, really good.
Yeah.
So
I don't think giving it a 2 would feel great at all. Like,
no,
it just did not feel right.
The episodes we've given 2s we really did not like. We thought were boring and uninteresting and we didn't care for.
Yes.
But this episode had some really strong parts. So we're going to say we're not giving it a 2, we're not giving it a 4. We're giving it a 3.
3!
So that'd be 2 little companion cubes. Both for the guy that's in it. No, one for the guy that's in the episode 2 for the exposition spouted at you at the end of the episode. Oh, that was bad.
But
we're moving into spoilers. So we can talk about a little more in depth why we didn't like certain things about this episode.
Definitely go watch this one. Don't just
it's
leave
worth
it
watching.
to us. Don't just take our opinion on it. Go see it for yourself. Maybe you actually like how the dude acts. Maybe you understand something else that we don't, or just get a different feeling from it. So definitely go watch it.
Yes, it's worth the watch. Undoubtedly. It's definitely worth the watch. Just to see the kid in it and how she acts.
I just still find it funny that the beginning, before we even pushed play on the episode, we were talking about children and how it can go really bad, and we're probably just going to be like, this is going to be annoying, and then...
Because kids go one or two ways.
She turned it around.
We had Big Tall Wish that I could not stand the kid in. But this episode is the exact opposite. I think the kid's phenomenal. That's the best part of the episode. But it's according to how they're written and how they act in the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're in spoilers. So yes. We get this little girl who, mysterious little girl, seems to know everything about Helen.
I loved how they started her out, because they did the classic horror movie thing or classic thriller, however you want to say it, where the woman walks to her door and you can see the child sitting on the stairs in the background, but the woman pays no attention to it, and if you blink, you miss it. Like, she just walks to the door and you see, I was like, there's a creepy little girl sitting on those stairs. And sure enough, she turns around, she like pauses, like, is there someone watching me? And then, creepy little girl.
Creepy little girl. The girl, she's so good. Again, she is what makes the episode. How she talks to the lead actress in this is just, it's so creepy. It reminds me a lot, because I've said it like 14 times at this point. Everyone's seen The Shining. It reminds me of the two little twins. How they talk, she could totally play that.
But no, like, well, where are you from? And she's just like, I live around here. And you're just like, ooh.
I wish it would have played more into the horror element of what the episode originally gives off.
Well, I mean, the episode is called
Nightmare.
The Nightmare. So it's like, you think, oh, this is going to be a creepy child, right? And
it had so much potential. It starts up so strong. Her coming into the apartment.
Yeah.
This very open set apart, which I liked.
Yes.
It looked nice, but it was very, very open. And the fact that there wasn't a lot of focus on one or the other, which is something I recognize in the episode, is that we don't see the woman and then everything behind her is out of focus. We don't see the little girl and the woman's out of focus. Almost at all times, they are both in focus.
Yes.
Even if the woman's close up and the girl's way behind her. They make sure that they're both in focus at all times, which gives it a very interesting look, in my opinion, of the episode.
And it also gives it a very eerie vibe, because they use it a lot in horror movies to show something they want you to focus on in the background. As say, the woman is standing there and the girl's behind her, and she's like, she has her cocoa in front of her, and she just turns, and you can see her staring at the woman before she even says anything. She's just staring at the woman, letting the woman think about it, but you can see what's going on, and you're like, dude.
Again, everything about this little girl and the woman in the apartment in the first part of this episode is really, really well done. Up into the little girl said, I have to go, he's coming.
Yes.
And at that point is when the episode actually gets bad.
Yes.
One, the little girl says she's going out the back door, which we could chalk up to just being her imagination and needed an escape. There is no back door to this apartment. There's her bedroom. As far as I'm aware of in the back, that is not the back door. And apartments don't have back doors.
One, it could not have been a back door, even if the only way it could have been a back door is if she was on the first floor, and we know for a fact she was not, because she pushes him down the stairs.
Yes. They mentioned the floor. And two, if you look at where her apartment is placed as they walk in, that leads, the stairs are here, her apartment goes here, and back that way.
Yeah.
Behind the stairs. It doesn't work. It's not a big thing, but as soon as she said, I'm going to go out the back door, I'm like, what? What? That don't make no sense. But whatever, we get past that. But then the man comes. And by all intents and purposes, this man is suspicious from the moment we see him on screen.
Well, yeah. The girl already tells you that. Pretty much gives you danger alarms, like this man, don't trust him, yada yada yada. Just the vibes of this man. Watch out for him.
Oh, and she had asked earlier about the man you saw who stopped at the red light.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's weird. You bring attention to this weird man, and then a man shows up. It's like, yeah, I saw you staring at me at the red light. Like, well, you're very clearly that man. Okay, I'm glad we brought attention to that. But he just proceeds to get more and more weird and creepy and just like, okay, you're obviously the bad guy.
Yeah.
We get it. It's like Scar in The Lion King. He's obviously the bad guy. He's even shaded, so he looks like the bad guy.
It was just really weird because just the things he was saying. Like, I had a crush on you when you were a little girl. And it's like, how old are you? Like, how old were you?
He worked for her mother.
Yes.
Therefore, he has at least 15, 20, probably at least 20, 25 years over this woman. And he's talking about having a crush and how beautiful she was as a child. This is weird really to itself. But everything he does, from how he stands around her, for how he lurks around her, for how close he's by her at all times, it's weird.
He was pretty much just like... was just standing here talking to her, and, do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember this?
It's like, okay, we get you're the bad guy. We get you're going to try something at some point.
And it was just everything was weird. It was cool that she did try to bring up the little girl. Oh, like, that was the little girl. And he's like, what little girl? So now we obviously know that the girl is not being able to be seen by anyone else or understood by anyone else.
Yes, but, I mean, it was... a little too much of this episode is obvious. Her and the little girl being the same person. Yeah. Not as obvious. They didn't, throw it in your face. For the most part. Yeah.
It did help that they did keep the... I do like that they changed the hair color. Mm-hmm. Like, if she would have been a blonde, it would have been like, oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it wasn't super, super obvious. But I wish they would have tried to keep it more vague.
Yeah.
Which they did not. Which is another issue with this episode. Because... the little girl brings up this scar the woman has on her or this burn.
Yeah.
But at no point in the episode do they actually say how she got the burn. They bring it up quite a few times, but it never gets brought up how it happened. It's only there so they can prove at some point in the episode that the woman and the girl are the same person.
Yes.
It's not there because it was something she'd forgotten. It's not there because of a dramatic experience with the guy, because he didn't do it to her. It's only there to prove that they're the same person, because just them telling you or hinting towards it isn't enough. They had to undoubtedly show that they are the same person.
See, and it's kind of sad because towards the beginning of the episode, it was back and forth in my head as far as, wait, is this her when she's little? And then the other one, maybe it's her mom. Maybe it's her mom when she's little. Like, coming back to kind of try to get her to remember what happened to her. Like, hey. And I think that would have been another cool spin they could have done. Is for it not to be her, but to be her mother come back to try to give her clues as far as... because, yes, this woman has amnesia, but she honestly forgot what she looked like when she was younger. Like,
yeah, that's another weird thing. Is that, like, this is you as a child. We're all pretty aware how we looked when we were children. We've seen lots of pictures.
And then, but sometimes, like, seeing a picture of maybe your mother or your father when they're younger, you don't recognize them right away.
Yes, because you don't generally see a lot of pictures of your parents when they were children. Occasionally, I mean, especially even more so in 1960, when that wasn't going to be as prominent of a thing. Nowadays, with social media, our children or any of our nephews and nieces will all know instantly because there's billions of pictures out there. Everyone has pictures.
Yes.
But back then it wasn't nowhere remotely as prominent.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense. But you know what you looked like as a child.
It's also, I guess, adding another layer of creepy that the dude was carrying a picture around of her.
Yes, as a child.
Like, your mother gave me this. It's a picture of you when you're... What?
Yes, it's very strange. For over a decade, you've carried a picture of me in your wallet.
Yes. And I've been following you, college and here, and just So you were waiting this entire time
to see if I ever remembered anything. You've been stalking me for a decade, just on the off chance that I would remember things.
So were you just trying to be merciful? Like, was it I want you to live as much life as possible that you can, and then I'll kill you.
Things came about, in my personal opinion, as a child, she wouldn't remember exactly what that man looked like.
No.
So it's a weird thing. So yes, we find out the man, he killed her mother. It was a dramatic experience. So dramatic, she blacked it out for most of her life.
Yes. And he's been following her in case she remembers so that she doesn't tell anyone, and now he has to silence her and, finish the unfinished business.
Yes. So he tries to kill her. They tussle back and forth.
They
weirdly.
They do a really weird wrestling match where
it's
and
weird.
Then, yeah.
It really looks like, yes, he's like a 6'4" guy who can't seem to overpower this small woman. But she's got him, and she shoved him down the stairs.
To which he he leans over the railing, and then it cuts to him just
going down. Yeah, it's very. They didn't want to actually shove someone.
I was almost waiting because we didn't know how many floors at this point she was up, so I was almost waiting for him to look like hang himself over the railing. It cut and do a dramatic.
And fall down.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes down the stairs and he dies. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I can deal with this. Then we get the cops there. Yeah, and this is where the episode gets so much worse. We get the cops. Okay, the man's dead. And they go to the door and the doctor comes out.
Oh, God.
He's given her a sedative because, this has been very dramatic. And women can't handle things back in the day. So you have to settle them down.
Hysteria.
Hysteria, exactly. And because the only reason this dialogue is in the episode is because they have to think the audience is dumb. Because the doctor just spouts out, the cop asks, what about the little girl she was talking about? And the doctor explains it as though this is a perfectly normal thing. He sees it all the time. This is how things happen. He was here. He saw the child with her at some point. It was a wonderful experience. That the child was a manifestation
of her younger self.
Of her younger self and being repressed and blah, 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 blah. A lot of dialogue that we didn't need at all.
Pretty much the only, it goes from that to simply, even going as far as to somehow the doctor figuring out that this childhood self, finally woke up within her as a warning.
Exactly, a warning.
Like perfect timing. It's like, okay.
Yes, it was very strange. It was them telling you the plot and why things were happening in the episode.
Yes.
Versus you as an audience member watching and figuring it out. And at this point, if you didn't figure it out, you know what? You didn't need to watch the episode. This was pretty obvious, but it was them thinking the audience was not going to understand the episode. So therefore, they needed to tell you what happened in the episode, which this did not need at all. No, it didn't need it. And episodes like this, the more the mystery, the better.
Yes.
If they had never shown the scar at all, and even if the little girl had just proclaimed that she was this person, leaving hints that maybe the little girl was real would have made things more interesting, in my opinion.
Yes.
The mystery is interesting. The over-explanation of what's happening, it's not as fun.
And I think that they could have gone a completely different... I think this story would have, been so much better if they would have done something unexpected. Like how we were talking about shortly after watching it. It would have been really cool if you find out that she was the one who killed her.
Even if it was an accident of some kind.
Yes.
And this man, instead of being the creepy murderer, was just someone who actually had seen what had actually happened as a child. He was coming back to check up on her and just to see and make sure if she'd remembered what she had did as a child. That could have been interesting, an interesting twist.
And it would have been great because they could have kept the episode the exact same, leading us to believe, okay, this guy's creepy, this guy's shady, this guy has to be the killer.
Exactly.
And
when in fact, that not being the case at all. Maybe he was the doctor who dealt with her after the fact of her killing her mother, and he's just checking up on her, being a good Samaritan just to see what's happening. That would have been more interesting than what we got. Yeah. Unfortunately.
It would have been crazy if it would have just continued on, even to the point where she's like, oh my goodness, you're going to kill me, and then kills him, and then finds out from her younger self or something what actually happened.
That would have been so interesting. Like, oh, he was actually just a good guy. Yeah. Now you've killed 2 people. That would have been wild. That would have been really interesting. Again, we're making up a better plot than this episode had.
Anyways, the highlight of this episode, though, at least for me, is that this is the first Twilight Zone episode we have watched where I actually jumped, and I was happy. I was so happy. It was because they did a cool scene where she was laying on the couch in this kind of migraine state, and the girl kind of appears behind her and is talking to her, and is like, "Do you remember now? Like, do you understand who I am?" Like, just saying these things. And the woman's like, "I think I do. Like, I think I can remember a lot more." And the girl says, "Do you remember what happened?" And you just hear, dun, dun, and she turns, and the guy's just standing behind her.
He's gotten back into the apartment.
Yes, the guy is standing behind her for no reason. The girl is gone, and it's just like the music hit. I jumped. The guy's standing there. I'm like, this is perfect. And then it just hit the fan, and I was like, yeah.
There are a lot of cool elements to this episode. It's a shame it's not better. It's a shame that they messed up the episode.
Yes.
That it had a lot of potential and really could have been a very cool episode, especially with the little actress they had in it.
Oh, yeah. She was amazing. She could have gone so far. Just kept going.
This could have been really cool. But the premise of this episode is go watch Dr. Sleep, because that's really good.
Yeah. It's the whole reason why we, did this one is support child stars. Go watch Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, go watch Dr. Sleep. It was really good. And I don't think you really need a lot of context. If you haven't seen The Shining in a while, I don't think it's a big deal. I haven't seen The Shining in probably 20 years. And I just remember, I just know pieces and stuff from, and I still personally enjoyed the episode quite a bit. But if you have access to Amazon, it is on Amazon. You can watch it, or you can rent it. So, rent it, watch The Shining, then watch this, or just watch this. It was good. It's really good. Great child actor. Great. She was great. She was as good as Hugh McGregor, if not better. She was really good. But I think that is it for this episode. I think we've rambled probably way too long in this episode.
Well, it kind of deserved it in a way. I mean, apparently this girl needs more attention. So
does she really at this point?
Probably not, but I don't know. That I think I would have been missing something if I hadn't have met this character that she had.
Yeah, she does a great job.
So overall, once again, it was a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. But as always, you can reach me at Stars Untraveled, reach men at KZ Pup, reach the show at Beyond Our Focus, everywhere, including YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Maybe.
In creepy apartments.
Yeah, Twilight Zone. Always in Twilight Zone. What? Till next time, long days and pleasant nights.